Today is kind of like spa day for the Scamp. We took it from the storage lot over to Patrick's parents' house, and right now Andy is actually washing the outside, and Patrick's going to put wax on and buff it, and I'm inside doing the spring cleaning in here. We had just taken the cover off from keeping the Scamp in storage over the winter. So the first thing we did was clean the outside really well, and Redford did his job of supervising here. After we had washed the outside of the Scamp, then we used a buffer to polish it, and then we put on a protective coat of wax. And the reason we wanted to get the outside really clean was because we were putting the stickers on to name it. When we got the Scamp last year and we were thinking about what we should name it, Patrick decided that he wanted to name it after his grandmom. So the Scamp's name is Doris, and we thought that it fit really well, especially because she was somebody who really liked to travel and loved a good adventure. The next sticker that we put on was the name of our channel and this whole process that we're going through. So we got these stickers on Etsy, and you can go on there and order exterior vinyl stickers. You can get them customized with any font that you like, and I was so happy with the way this turned out. It fits perfectly on the back of the Scamp. Patrick's brother Andy used to work on boats, so he said that the Scamp was a lot like working on a boat, the same sort of fiberglass material, so he knew what to do to take care of it for the season. While they were working on the outside, I went inside and decided to start trying to update the cabinets and the table, because the one thing about the Scamp is the interior is a little bit dark and dated. There's this fake wood on the doors and the table and the cabinets, and it's just not the greatest look. So I decided to paint the table and maybe a couple of the cabinets and just see how it looked at that point. I sanded down the cabinets so that the paint would stick to the surface, and I took off all of the hardware because I wanted to repaint that as well. Some of the knobs on the cabinets are just a little dark, and I thought that I could give them an extra coat of the same gold paint that I was actually using to make the stars on the ceiling in the tiny house, because I really like that gold paint. The guys at this point were outside putting on the wax to protect the exterior of the Scamp, so that hopefully when camping season actually starts, the Scamp will be super ready to go. We are back at the Scamp today. It's day 2 of our little mini renovation, I guess you could call it. Patrick is outside. He just unwinterized all of the water tanks. We flushed everything through. So now the freshwater system is ready for the season, and he's sanitizing it right now with some bleach. I'm inside working on some more of the painting. I'm about to do the vents up on the ceiling, painting the wood there so it has a little bit more protection, and putting a few more coats on the cabinets because they really take quite a few coats of paint and my hand is getting tired. I think this is going to be a multi-day process. The wood around the skylight and the fantastic fan is bare wood, and when we were camping in some colder conditions, we were getting some condensation up there, so I wanted to paint that to make sure the wood was a little bit more protected, and it also just looks a little bit nicer, so everything matches better and it has that lighter, brighter feeling inside the Scamp. and I started painting the side table that kind of extends the kitchen space that comes down, because that was kind of dark. And then I went back over and put another coat on the door. The insides of the cabinets are almost black, and I really don't like that, so that was one of the things that I was trying to paint. But like the outsides of the cabinets, it takes like 4 coats of this white paint to cover everything. This white paint that I was using was actually bathroom paint that I've used in the tiny house. It's a mildew-proof paint, and it's very good for high humidity situations. Then as we went back to the tiny house, I took all the hardware, the hooks and the doorknob handles, and I used that gold paint to give them just a little bit brighter, lighter look. This gold metallic paint looks great, and it will stick to almost anything, but if you use it in a closed area, it will give you a headache. It's definitely not non-toxic. And when I left the paintbrush in a plastic cup, it actually ate through the side of the plastic cup. So I don't know what's in this paint, but it looks really good on the hardware, so I'm glad it actually worked. We brought the Scamp back to the house. It was over at Patrick's parents' house so that we could keep it there for a few days while Andy was working on the outside. But we got it back at the tiny house so we can keep working on it. Nope. There's the supervisor. Hey, Red. How you doing? So I didn't film the last day that we were actually working on it because it was basically just more buffing the outside, and then I was painting the cabinets because there's 15 of them. I never knew there were so many doors in here. I guess you don't realize, but yeah, there's 15 different doors, and they take a lot of coats of paint to cover that brown fake wood stuff. So that's basically what I've been doing. It's like 85 degrees today. It's the hottest day we've had so far. And it's actually pretty cool in here with the fantastic fan on, but I'll show you. Oh, watch out, Red. My project for right now. So this is all the insides of the cabinets, and the bathroom door were black. And I was going to paint this, but then I decided to do something a little bit more fun. I have this old trail guide from the Appalachian Trail, and it's the 2014 version because that was the year that I was hoping to hike the Appalachian Trail. It did not work out. The money that I had actually saved to take off work and hike the Appalachian Trail and get all the gear and stuff that I needed ended up being the down payment for the tiny house, so it ended up being used in a different way. But I thought it would be neat to use the pages from the trail guide to go on the inside of the door so it's not so dark anymore. That's one of the things I really want to fix, is like the inside of the cabinets are all really dark. It looks much better now that the front of the cabinets are painted white, but I think it'll be even nicer to have the inside of the cabinets a little bit lighter and something kind of fun to look at. So that's the project. You ready? Alright. If you've watched our last few videos, especially the ones when we were in quarantine, one of my projects was to refinish the piece that goes over the top of the stove, because that was the same material as the cabinets, and I wanted to see what it was like to work with that and how easily I could stick things to it. So I was using this Mod Podge, which is the glue that I used to stick the map of Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park onto the cover for the stove, and then I just did the exact same process with the pages. I would pull the page out, trim the edges so that it would fit the space perfectly, and then I used the Mod Podge to put it on top of the door. And the nice thing is that this also makes a waterproof seal. You can pull the curtain over when you're in the shower, but the inside of the door will be pretty well protected, and this way I saved myself from having to do 4 or 5 coats of white paint before it actually was, covering effectively. I ended up liking this so much that I took the rest of my trail guide and I did the same thing up through the top cabinet, so you can kind of follow the trail and watch the elevation change as you go from one cabinet to the other. But I'll show you what that looks like in the next video.
You worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air.